I believe I had some freeze damage on the tops of these loblolly pines. You can see they're a little brown compared to the rest of the foliage, but they'll probably grow back pretty quickly in the spring. Also interesting, the cedar of Lebanon, Lebanese cedar. All the needles have gone brown there, except for a few here, which I'm surprised by since it's a species of tree that grows way up in the mountains of Lebanon. So this cold weather event did have a pretty significant impact on a lot of the conifers, even though I first thought that it didn't, so I was wrong about that. Let's take a look at a few of the others that were impacted. I think you can see here in the foreground this Carolina sapphire version of the Arizona cypress has pretty much turned brown, kind of a light tan, compared to the loblolly behind it. This blue ice version of the Arizona cypress looks really good, but back in the background there's the Carolina sapphire again, has really turned brown. So Carolina sapphire version of Arizona cypress is not as cold hardy as the blue ice. And right here is the blue Atlas cedar, which is not as badly damaged as the Lebanese cedar. So it appears to be the most cold hardy of the true cedars, but it still has a little browning on some needles. And here's a Berkeyii red cedar, which is a cultivar of the native eastern red cedar that grows here in Tennessee, and it was not at all affected. At first I thought the podocarpus had made it through unscathed, but in hindsight that was wishful thinking. The whole tree has turned brown and way worse than last year, so I don't think the podocarpus survived this episode. Maybe it did, and it could re-leaf in the spring. Not sure, but looks pretty bad on the podocarpus. Even the tips of the Lijiang spruce from southern China were a little bit damaged by the cold, although the interior foliage looks fine. I am hopeful that the buds are still good and it will still sprout new growth in the spring. For the sake of comparison, here's another spruce tree from southern China. This is the Yunnan spruce, Picea purpurea, and it looks pretty good. Here's the China fir, Cunninghamia lanceolata. A lot of purple on there, which is probably normal, but there's also a lot of brown. So I don't know what the long-term impact will be on the Cunninghamia. We'll wait and see. I showed this in another video, but it's worth reminding you that the Keteleria pretty much got killed for the second winter in a row, or at least the needles are dead. I don't know if the branches are alive. Probably not, since the needles are still attached. So that's unfortunate. And another unfortunate thing is that the coast redwood, which I thought was fine at first, has now pretty much gone tan and brown from top to bottom, with a little green left here and there. So I'm going to wait and see if maybe it can bounce back from this. But definitely not looking great on the coast redwood. And here's the green version of the Cunninghamia lanceolata. Well, it was green. Now it's the brown version, because it's pretty much turned brown from top to bottom. Little traces of green here and there, so I don't think it's dead. Just very badly freeze damaged because of the temperatures. The incense cedar did just fine. After several weeks, no sign of any cold damage on the incense cedar. All of the cryptomerias are still a deep bronze/rust color, so I'm hoping they'll green back up in the spring, but I'm not writing them off as severely damaged just yet. The Japanese umbrella pine made it through, no problem. And this is the Hinoki cypress, Chamaecyparis obtusa, which has got a little bronzing, but I think it's still pretty healthy overall. Undersides of the leaves are green. So that's a good sign. Here's another look at the deodar cedars, and the golden ones are still looking pretty bad. Brown everywhere, and I think some of the needles have started to drop as well. So we'll wait and see what the end result is for the golden deodar cedars. The Leland cypress was actually pretty scorched by the freezing cold. I have brown on all the tops, although the bottom of the tree still has some green. But this was definitely pushing the limits of what the Leland cypress can tolerate. In contrast to the Leland, the Murray cypress looks a lot better, so it's definitely more cold hardy, which is in line with the marketing around this tree as being more cold hardy and faster growing and more disease resistant than the Leland cypress.